Family, we've been in it for a long ass. Nigga, that say 7. We've been on here 7 hours. I know you fucking lying. We've been on here 7 hours. I know you fucking lying. Hey, listen, we about to get into part 2 of the last of this evidence. I fucks with this dude right here. I like him. I like bald head. Not Matt Lauer, the other dude that's on the thing. But anyway, man, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
State's objection is sustained. Mr. Davis, you may continue with your examination. All right, Detective Abbott, you had testified as to Jonathan at some point had gone up to the airport area, correct?
Yes, up to Duval Place. It's off Airport Road, not the actual airport.
Right, and you went to a business called Fastenal, correct?
Yes, it's a parts store.
It's a parts store, and that parts store provides parts for machinery and equipment used at Ace Pick-A-Part.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so him going up there didn't seem out of the ordinary if he was doing it in the regular course of business then, would it?
Correct.
Okay, and that was on December the 19th, if I remember correctly?
Yes, sir, the 19th.
Okay. Now, you had also testified that the distance from Ace Pick-A-Part up to Fastenal is about, what, 18, 20 miles?
No, I never testified to the distance between Ace Pick-A-Part and Fastenal, but I drove the distance, and I believe it takes 7 minutes to get up there and about 7 or 8 to get back. It was like approximately 15 minutes round trip. It's not very far.
Okay. If you're going by interstate, it's a little longer by Main Street. Would that be accurate?
It would be a little bit longer by Main Street, but again, all things are dependent upon traffic. The north side is a lot busier now than it was 5 years ago.
Right.
So, 5 years ago, it's potential a lot faster because of less traffic. But again, it would all just depend on that day and time.
Right, and a lot more construction as well.
Yes.
Okay. And isn't it in fact true the distance from like Terry Parker up to the airport area is about 20 miles then? Give or take.
Give or take, maybe. I checked times, not mileage.
Okay. And if you were going from Terry Parker up to the airport, about how much time did it take you?
It's 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes.
Okay. Again, that was by the interstate at that time as well, right?
I took the interstate, yes.
Okay. Now, after that, you said that Joseph Quillis, his brother, called in and gave the tip, right?
Correct.
And that is what changed your investigation from a missing person to a homicide based on what the brother advised you, right?
That and the fact that the day before we had his DNA found in the crotch of her underwear.
Okay, well, since you brought that up, let's go to that. The DNA that was found in the crotch of her underwear isn't in fact true. You don't know whether it is based on skin cell or whether it's based on serology, do you?
No.
Okay, and it was inconclusive and unable to be determined by your own FDLE, correct?
On which one it was, yes. But it did belong to him.
Okay.
They just can't tell us what type of DNA it is.
So the mere fact that it could have been a skin transfer from him picking up her underwear and putting it into a bag or giving it to her since she was staying over there and maybe his wife washed it and there was a skin transfer, you can't be sure how his DNA got there, can you?
I can't really testify because I'm not an FDLE analyst that does biology. I was told that it was closer to serology than skin cells, but again, I'm not the scientist. We rely on their information, but they weren't able to, like you said, tell us one way or another.
Okay. All right. Now, And to be clear, then between that and Joseph Quillez, that's what changed your investigation to a homicide, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then it wasn't long after that, you started searching the Otis Road landfill, forgive me. Correct?
Correct. Well, we have to verify everything that the brother said, obviously, which started with his place of employment with, hey, is there a roll-away dumpster on this property? Yeah, it takes a week to fill it up. Do you have a record when it was picked up? In fact, yes, we do. It was picked up on the 20th, which then led to Otis Road.
I'm going to stick to answering my question and not sidetrack, please.
Okay.
So now, Otis Road landfill. In doing the Otis Road landfill, it took a lot of time and effort to coordinate all of that and set all that up, correct?
Correct.
So it didn't just happen overnight and that's why there's a time lapse between around January 9th or 10th all the way to the 16th in order to coordinate all that and set it up. Would that be accurate?
That is accurate.
All right. Now, out there at the Otis Road landfill, we're not just talking a couple of people, we're talking upwards of 50 to 75, even 100 people a day, right?
Yes. Police.
I'm sorry?
Police officers that were there searching?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So in the pictures where we just see one or two people maybe holding up something, that's not an accurate depiction of the sheer volume and magnitude of the amount of labor, man hours, and work that went into this, right?
Correct. We worked in rotations. It was hot on some days and cold on others, and we're wearing Tyvek suits with masks, helmets, gloves, boots. Very hot. It's very difficult to work in that. So you would send people out 10, 15 at a time to do searches for about an hour.
I'll say your
And then
name
we'd come
because you're
down
stupid as hell.
and get rid of those suits. The next crew would come in with new suits. So there might be 60 people, but it's not like all 60 people are up there, digging through, searching. Some people are only washing boots. Some people are going back and forth getting waters. Some people are giving you rides to and from the top of the hill. It was a pretty good operation, but we tried to keep the search limited to a few people. Plus, we were switching off with detectives that were right there with them, going item by item, and hey, raise your hand if you see anything that looks weird. I know when I was on top, I personally checked every single pile looking.
Right. All right. Now, the area that you guys were looking was an area where you were advised, it was believed that the Ace Pick-Apart dumpster would have been dumped in that area, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, were you also aware that in that same area, that Goodwill dumps, the business Goodwill?
Ed Smallfield told us it was the only thing that got dumped out there was construction debris.
Okay.
He's the manager of the Otis Road landfill.
Okay. So then it would be a surprise to you that Goodwill and the malls and other areas also dump there.
That would be a surprise because that goes against what the manager told us.
Okay. All right. And even with Ace Pick-Apart, that goes into their dumpster, there's clothes from vehicles that were wrecked or salvaged or whatever, right?
Correct.
Now, the bras and panties that were provided to you or that were recovered out there at the landfill, you can't say definitively that those were IS's, can you?
No, the DNA that was recovered on certain of those items was not enough to be conclusive.
And you can't even say that they were the correct size either, can you?
Some of them were of different sizes. There was one pair in particular. Most of the things that came out of there were super dirty, as you can imagine. But the one pair of underwear that we described, black, white, pink, from their Valentine's Day collection from 2016, that was a cleaner pair of underwear that had come out of all of this, which also matched pairs that IS's mother and aunt had bought. They went together to buy all 3 pair.
And the pair that was recovered wasn't the same or the correct size, though, was it?
It was small. I believe it was the same size.
Okay. Now, the book that was recovered that said Terry Parker on it, you don't have any knowledge if that was in fact IS's book or somebody else that was recovered out of a vehicle or dumped there either.
I called the school to see if they had a record of that, and I gave them the numbers off the barcode for Terry Parker, and they said that the book was not in their inventory, but they said that they have books that students can borrow and have and take and return without, keeping an inventory of it. So I can't definitively say that it was or was not.
Okay. Let's see. As part of your investigation, you did a complete cell phone dump of Jonathan Quilles as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. And there was nothing specifically connecting Jonathan Quilles to IS, right?
The only thing that I found when I searched her name and number, there's a search option that does a master search of the entire device, and the only thing that linked to him from his phone dump, or to her from the phone dump, was her contact.
Right. Now, you had brought up that there was a 2-year gap in there between, I believe, 16 and 18 where there's nothing on the phone, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you speaking with Mr. Quilles, isn't it in fact so? He advised you that during that 2-year gap, he was using a different phone, an iPhone at that time, right?
He told us that he had recently got a new phone, but if you compare that to the records, everybody knows when you get a new phone, they transfer all your data to the new phone. However, you see information on the phone from 2016, then there's a gap, and then it picks back up at 18 with a 2-year period missing from phone calls, texts, and location data.
Okay. And me not being a tech guy, Android and iPhone, though, don't interact well with each other, do they?
I don't know. I'm not.
Okay. So if he was using an iPhone, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything would transfer over or be able to be found on that.
I can't say if it would or would not.
Okay. So, but he did advise you he was using an iPhone, though, right?
I don't recall him saying iPhone. I recall him saying I got a different phone.
Okay. And do you recall him telling you that when that phone broke, he went back to using this backup phone until his new one was coming in?
He may have said that.
Okay. So it wasn't like he was trying to hide the last 2 years and wipe it out. It was just he was waiting on another phone then, right?
Your Honor, objection, you're saying speculation.
Sustained.
All right. All right. Now, about the same time that IS went missing, there was also, when it did finally make the news, there was a couple of people that called in, right?
Yes. It's typical with a lot of missing persons cases that make the news.
Okay. And these people called in with information as to where they believed they had seen IS after she went missing. Would that be accurate?
The tips were more like, hey, we saw a girl that looks like it might be her. It's over in a park, or it's over in Azalea Ridge Apartments. Just different tips coming in like that, yes.
Okay. And I believe your testimony on direct was JSO doesn't send anybody out right away to check on that. It's relayed and it could be several days before somebody actually follows up. Is that accurate?
That isn't far from accurate. What I said was sometimes we get the tips several days after. That sometimes when they call in, it could be a couple of days afterwards when they're calling this in. Hey, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, yesterday I saw her in this park or walking down this street. Well, in instances such as that, it's easy to vet those quickly because obviously the person's not still going to be walking through the park a day or 2 days or 3 days later. But the ones that were close in time frame that we could quickly get out there, we did send detectives out to search for video, to look for people, anything that might corroborate the tips. But everything that we ever tried to do, I mean, we never found anything.
Okay. Now, you also testified on direct about the pill bottles, the Don Clay, and the parsley.
Correct.
Now, what dates did you go out there and retrieve those items?
I was contacted April 2nd about that, and as soon as she called me that night, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and Detective Guthrie and I were working that night because we were on call. I'm like, let's go out there, let's get crime scene, and we went straight there to see the stuff and collect it.
Okay. Now, were you aware in speaking with Naomi Quillez that IS and SS would use her computer to order things through Amazon?
No.
They didn't tell you that.
No.
Forgive me, SS didn't tell you that.
SS didn't tell me that, and neither did Naomi.
Okay. And so when the pill bottles were located in April in the same room that SS was still staying in, it had been 4 months that had been sitting there, and SS never bothered to tell you, right?
Correct.
Okay. And both SS and Kimberly Mobley had access to those, correct?
Correct. But Kimberly Mobley, when I talked to her that night, she had never seen it before. She didn't know what it was. She said, and like I said before, SS was kind of slow to warm up and start coming off of information, just trying to hide all of this stuff still. And she told her about it. That's when she immediately called me. I was like, look, nobody touched anything, but obviously she did touch it because we found her DNA on it, on Miss Mobley's DNA, from her picking it up, trying to read, what is this? What is he giving her?
And that was, Kimberly Mobley's DNA was the only one found on it, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, as part of your investigation, you also learned of Kamar Humphrey, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you have a meeting with him?
I never met with him, no.
Okay. So you never followed up on his alibi either, did you?
His alibi?
Yes.
So the incident with Kamar Humphrey took place in March, 9 months before she went missing. And in all the cell phone dumps and social media and everything, iCloud, everything that ever came back, nothing ever pointed to him. There was no communications. There was no plans to get away and get married. None of that. Everything that I had pointed to the defendant, not to Kamar Humphrey. It's not that he wasn't investigated.
He's not responsive to my specific question.
You're objecting to your own question in his
No, I'm objecting the witness is non-responsive and not answering the specific question he's going off. And
That's cross-examination.
I had no need to interview him because none of the evidence pointed to him.
okay, so you can't say for certain that he didn't have access to those Snapchats, right?
No.
You can't say for certain who had access to those Snapchats and who was communicating with IS or SS, right?
I think the messages speak for themselves. Kamar Humphrey doesn't have a daughter named Nia.
Okay, but there's multiple people in there, in looking at those Snapchats that you were reading off. Several of them are actually talking about Jonathan Quillez and his family and his kids, right?
I didn't read any of those off.
Okay. And but again, you don't know where Kamar Humphrey was on the day IS went missing, right?
Correct.
You don't know if Kamar Humphrey was still having a sexual relationship with IS at the time, do you?
I believe he was not.
That's your belief. but you
After
don't
the
know.
after the allegation, he kind of disappeared and got away from that family to avoid that entire situation at all. But like I said, in all the evidence that I found, nothing ever pointed to Kamar Humphrey.
So he disappeared around the same time that IS disappeared, right?
No, he disappeared right after the allegations in March, 9 months prior to her disappearing.
Okay.
But that investigation
This nigga
continued.
sound like
It was
a
special
fucking
assault
dummy.
investigation.
You say he disappeared in March, but wasn't he in fact here in Jacksonville on Christmas of,
When I say disappeared, I meant he left the house where he was staying across the street from IS and went to stay elsewhere in Jacksonville with family.
okay, but you don't know if he was still having an ongoing relationship with her, do you?
I found no messages or any evidence of that, no. However, in September, she would be 16 and he would be 20 or 21 still. In the state of Florida, that relationship would then be legal.
Okay, but he was already a sex offender at that point, right?
I don't know what date he became a sex offender.
Okay. All right.
Hey, the nigga sound like a damn fool. So go and sit your thick ass down.
The Snapchats that you were testifying to. The images that were on the Snapchats, several of them the state pulled up for you. None of those images were that of Jonathan Quilles, were they?
No,
In the Snapchat, none of those images were of Mr. Quilles' family, were they?
no.
Okay.
On those particular messages, no.
Right, the ones you just testified to for both yesterday afternoon and this morning. Now, in addition to that, you made comments about, on a couple of them, you know, these are images of two people having sex. Those were cartoon animes of people having sex, not.
Travis
actual
Max,
people,
go
right?
to bed,
Correct.
man.
It's drawn.
Yeah.
Okay. And those were not a depiction of Mr. Quilles and IS together, were
I
they?
ain't going to hell with y'all. Shut up.
And
And then the tail tooth part makes it even funnier. Shut
had 3 different accounts, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the one that was of interest was the Princess 400, 46 and the XS Ayana, right?
Correct. I did warrants for all 3, though, to obtain the data from all 3.
Right, but those were the 2 that were seen where the messages were going back and forth.
Where they are communicating back and forth, yes.
Okay. You don't know who created these Snapchat accounts, do you?
The Snapchat log shows that they were created using her email address.
Okay, but you don't know who created it.
Correct. It could have been Jonathan or IS.
For all you know, it could have been me, right?
Did you know her email address then?
You don't know who actually was texting between the accounts, do you?
I attempted to get their IP addresses for the logins to see if that was, but I was too late on that. I did that after the fact. I should have did that earlier, but that's something that I didn't realize I could do. And by the time I attempted to get that to determine locations for that, that information had already been purged. But as we can see in some of the other things that, some of the other snaps that were screenshot that I read off, they're in the same house while they're snapping things. For example, where you said, I'm going to sneak a kiss, and
Okay, how do you know they're in the same house? You're
that's what the
speculating
message,
as
that's
to
what the
that.
message said.
You're speculating as to that, though.
The message said we're in the same house.
Okay, but you can't say for sure at that point in time that was Jonathan Quilles at the house or if it was someone else, can you?
The message says uncle.
And for all you know, actually, with the animosity of Kimberly Mobley, she could have been fabricating this and putting it on IS's Snapchat
Hey, I like this nigga right here, shut it for real.
just to plant the seed there so he'd be arrested, right?
Your objection, speculation.
Sustained.
On the videos that were on IS's account, you don't know who those people were in them, do you?
No,
You don't know if they were her friends, do you?
I don't believe they were. It looks like stuff off the internet.
Okay,
They weren't any of the friends that I met and spoke with.
all right. And you can't say for certain, again, who put those images up there, right?
They came from that account, the Princess 40046 account.
Right. But you don't know who put it up there.
I think the messages kind of speak for themselves on who's talking in those messages.
All right.
You know that nigga get ate good when that nigga said, alright.
Judge, may I have a second with counsel?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Proceed, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo, I'm so sorry. But that shit was funny than the fuck to me, bro. We got more evidence we gotta get over tomorrow. But this ends the text messages and things like that. So we gonna get into the next shit. We're gonna get into the rest of the stuff tomorrow and things like that. Hey, shout out to that detective right there. Yo, you see the girl and he stand up to go against him. She called out sick that day. She did. Y'all hold on, y'all. I'm over here weak as hell. Cause that shit funny though.